Two people standing on the same street corner can disagree about what is happening right now on the other side of the universe. Not happened. Not will happen. Right now. And the strange part, the part that ought to keep you awake, is that physics says they are both correct. That is not a riddle. It is not a trick of language. It is the conclusion of the most carefully tested theory we have about space and time. And once you let it sink in, the story you have been telling yourself about tomorrow, that it does not exist yet, that it is waiting somewhere out ahead of you, blank and unwritten, that story starts to crack open in your hands. So let us be detectives for the next quarter of an hour. Let us treat time the way a careful detective treats a crime scene. We gather the clues. We follow them where they lead. And I warn you, where they lead is somewhere very strange indeed. Clue 1. For about 2 centuries after Isaac Newton, everybody who thought carefully about time believed something very simple. Time is a great river. It flows. It flows the same way everywhere in the universe. If I have a clock in this room, and you have a clock on a star 10,000 light years away, our clocks tick together. Tick, tick, tick. The same tick, always. Newton himself wrote that time, absolute and mathematical, flows equably without regard to anything external. A river running through everything. That picture feels right. It feels obvious. It is the picture you carry around in your head whenever you are not thinking about it. When you say, right now, my brother in another city is brushing his teeth, you mean it. You picture his teeth being brushed at the same moment your toast is browning. You assume a universal now that stretches across the whole cosmos like a tablecloth, perfectly flat, perfectly shared. For 200 years, every physicist who measured anything got results consistent with that picture. So nobody questioned it. Why would they? Newton's clockwork ran the orbits of the planets to 10 decimal places. The river was real. The river was final. The river, my friends, was about to fall over a cliff. Clue 2. In the 1880s, a couple of careful experimenters in Cleveland, Ohio, tried to measure how the Earth moves through this thing called the luminiferous ether, which everybody figured was the invisible stuff that light traveled through. The experiment is named after 2 men, Michelson and Morley. I will spare you the apparatus. The result is what matters. They got nothing. No motion. No drift. As if the Earth were sitting perfectly still in space, which it obviously is not. The Earth is hurtling around the Sun at about 18 miles per second. The Sun is hurtling around the galaxy. Nothing in this universe sits still. And their best, most sensitive measurement said 0. This was a problem. A big one. People tried everything to make it go away. Maybe the ether was being dragged along with the Earth, like a puppy on a leash. Maybe lengths of things were shrinking in some sneaky way that hid the motion. Patches. Band-aids on a broken theory. Smart people. Smart patches. None of them really worked. Then a young clerk in a Swiss patent office decided to take the experiment seriously. His name was Albert Einstein. He was 26 years old. He had a stack of patent applications on one side of his desk and questions about light on the other side. And he asked a question nobody else was brave enough to ask. What if the result is exactly what it looks like? What if the speed of light is just the same for everyone, no matter how they are moving? Period. End of discussion. That sounds like a small adjustment. It is not. It is a stick of dynamite under everything you thought you knew about time. Clue 3. Let me show you why. Forget clocks for a second. Imagine you are baking bread. You are standing in your kitchen. You have a very long, very fast loaf of bread on a conveyor belt moving past you sideways. At the front end of the loaf, a light bulb flashes. At the back end of the loaf, another light bulb flashes. From where you are standing, the 2 flashes happen at exactly the same moment. You see them as one event, simultaneous. Your neighbor is inside the loaf of bread, riding along with it. From her point of view, the loaf is sitting still, and the kitchen is whooshing past in the other direction. Here is the trouble. She does not see those 2 flashes at the same time. The light from the front flash and the light from the back flash both travel toward her at the same speed, because the speed of light is the same for everyone. That is Einstein's rule. The rule will not bend. But because she is moving relative to you, the geometry works out differently for her eyes. She sees one flash before the other, clearly, distinctly, with time to spare between them. Two events, the same two physical events. To you, they happen at the same time. To her, they happen at different times, and both of you are right. There is no experiment, no clock, no measurement that can declare one of you wrong. The universe does not care which of you is really right. There is no really. This is called the relativity of simultaneity. And it has been tested endlessly. Particle accelerators confirm it every afternoon. Atomic clocks flown around the world on airplanes confirm it. Every single bit of the technology that uses Einstein's equations confirms it. The theory is correct. But pause and feel what it just did to your idea of now. If two events that I call simultaneous, you call ordered. If you say flash A happened before flash B, while I say they happened at the same instant, then the moment we both call now cannot be the same moment for both of us. My now slices through the universe at one angle. Your now slices through it at a different angle. We are not slicing the same way. The river of time is not one river. It is a different river for every observer. Clue 4. Stay with me, because we are about to see what is really going on. A mathematician named Hermann Minkowski, Einstein's old professor, the man who once called his student a lazy dog, Minkowski looked at Einstein's equations a few years later and said, "In effect, I see what is happening. Space and time are not two separate things. They are one thing, one four-dimensional fabric, spacetime. Picture it this way. Take a loaf of bread. Forget the conveyor belt this time. Just a loaf, sitting quietly on the counter. The entire history of the universe is this loaf. Every event that has ever happened, that is happening, that ever will happen, it is all baked into the loaf. The Big Bang is somewhere at one end. The far future, whatever it holds, is at the other. Now, you and I are slicers. Each slice we cut is a moment of now. A complete moment. Everything happening simultaneously, everywhere in the universe, in one thin slice of bread. Minkowski's deep insight is this. If you and I are moving relative to each other, we do not slice the loaf the same way. My slices come out straight across. Your slices come out at an angle. We are cutting the same loaf, but we are not cutting it into the same pieces. Your now tilts compared to mine. And the further away an event is from us in space, the more our tilted slices disagree about when it happened. Here is the bit that should make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. The loaf is still there. Whether I slice it one way or you slice it another way, the loaf is there. All of it. The Big Bang end. The middle. The far end. The whole bread. Clue 5. I want to tell you about something that I think is the most disturbing thing in all of physics, and we hardly ever discuss it openly. It is called the Andromeda paradox, sometimes the Rietdijk-Putnam argument, after the two philosophers who sharpened it into a blade. Imagine you are walking down the street, a normal walking pace. Imagine I am walking the other way, past you, also at a normal walking speed. We meet on the sidewalk. For an instant, we are at the same place. Now consider an event happening on a planet in the Andromeda galaxy, about 2.5 million light-years away. Far. Genuinely far. According to the math of special relativity, your slice of now through Andromeda and my slice of now through Andromeda, because we are walking in opposite directions, even at walking speed, those slices are not the same. They are different by a few days, maybe a week. Walk 3 miles an hour one way versus 3 miles an hour the other way, and 2.5 million light-years away, your right now and my right now can differ by an entire week of events on a distant world. Imagine an alien fleet is deciding whether to launch. The decision moment. From your slice of now, the decision is still in your future. It has not happened yet. From my slice of now, the decision is already in my past. It has been made. Same instant we pass each other. Same universe. Same fleet. We just disagree about whether they have launched. You and I cannot both be wrong about this. Special relativity says neither of us is wrong. The decision is in the loaf. Now, no information can travel between us and Andromeda faster than light. We cannot use this to send signals or change anything. The alien's decision cannot reach into our walking pace conversation, and our conversation cannot reach back to them. But the question is not, can we interact? The question is, does that event exist? The geometry of spacetime says yes. It is there. It is in the loaf. Your slice goes through it from one side, my slice from another. The loaf does not care about your angle of cut, or mine. The loaf just is. Clue 6. This is what physicists call the block universe. The picture is this. The universe is not a movie unfolding frame by frame in front of a projector. It is more like a book that already has all of its pages. Every page is written. Every event, yesterday's coffee, tomorrow's headline, the death of the last star, the embarrassing thing you said in the 3rd grade, every event has the same status. They all exist. They are just at different addresses inside the block. When you and I have the strong feeling of time flowing, of now moving forward like a candle wick burning down, that feeling is something happening inside our minds. It is not a feature of the block. The block does not flow. The block sits. I will not soften this conclusion. It is what the simplest reading of the best tested theory we have actually says. There is no objective universal now cutting through the universe. And if every observer's now is just a tilted slice through a 4-dimensional structure, then the natural reading is that the structure is the thing, and the slicing is the perspective. The future is not waiting to be created. From this viewpoint, the future is sitting in the loaf, just as solid as the past. Tomorrow already happened. You just have not got there yet. From where you are standing. Einstein himself believed this. In 1955, when his old friend Michel Besso died, Einstein wrote a letter to the Besso family. He wrote that for those who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. A stubborn illusion. Einstein knew it sounded wild. He also could not see another honest reading of his own equations. He sent that letter weeks before he himself died. A man putting his affairs in order, telling the truth about what time is. Clue 7. You should be a detective here. Push back. You should be saying, hold on, this is a picture. This is one way of drawing the equations. It is not necessarily reality. Maybe the loaf is a useful diagram and the real world is still a flowing river with a privileged now, and we just have not figured out how to spot it yet. Good. That is the right kind of skepticism. Let me give you the honest answer. The block universe is not strictly required by relativity. There are other interpretations. You could argue that now exists, but it is local, that each observer carries their own private now, and the universe does not need one big shared now at all. You could argue some events are real and others are not yet real, but the boundary is fuzzy and observer-dependent. Philosophers have spent careers carving these positions. But every interpretation that tries to keep a flowing, privileged present has to do real work. It has to add structure to space-time that the equations themselves do not require. The block picture is the simplest. The block picture is what you get if you take the math at face value and do not bolt extra furniture onto it. And there is something else that should bother the river picture. We have a bigger theory called general relativity. Einstein's later theory, the one that brings gravity into the story. In general relativity, space-time is not just sliced differently by different observers. Space-time itself bends. It curves around heavy things. The loaf is not a rectangular brick. The loaf is warped. And in certain mathematical solutions to Einstein's equations, time itself loops back on itself. There are universes the equations describe where you could travel along a path in space-time and end up at your own past. We do not think our universe is one of those. Probably, but the equations allow it. Time is not a one-way river even in principle. The block is bendable. Clue 8. Here is what keeps me up at night about all of this. I have a now. Sitting here, with this piece of chalk in my hand, talking to you, there is something it is like to be in this moment. Not a moment from yesterday. Not a moment from tomorrow. This one, right now, where is that in the block? You will not find it. The equations do not pick out a special moment. They do not say, and at this particular address inside the block, something is happening that does not happen at any other address. Every moment, from the equation's point of view, is just there. The happeningness of right now, the warm, lit-up, alive quality of being conscious in this specific instant, is invisible to the math. This is one of the deepest puzzles in physics, and we have not solved it. We do not know why we experience time as flowing if the universe is a block. We do not know why now feels special if no moment in the block is, in itself, special. We do not even agree on whether this is a question physics can answer. Some people say it is not physics' job at all. The flow of time, they say, is a feature of how brains process information. The brain has memories of the past and no memories of the future, and that asymmetry creates the illusion of motion through time. Add the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy increases toward the future, and you can build a story where the brain thinks it is moving through time because that is the direction memories accumulate. The block stays still. The brain thinks it is walking. Other people say that is not enough. The illusion of now is too vivid, too built in, too pointed. Something in the physics must single out moments. We just have not found it yet, and quietly burying the question inside biology is a way of refusing to answer it. I will not tell you who is right. I will tell you it is a genuine open question. The blockiest, most stripped-down reading of relativity says the universe is a frozen four-dimensional sculpture. Your experience says otherwise. Both are honest reports. Reconciling them is one of the hardest problems we have. Clue 9. Let us sit, just for a moment, with what it would mean if the block view is correct. It means free will, in the simplest naive sense, is in trouble. Your decision tomorrow morning to have toast or eggs, that decision is already an event in the block. You will make it. You always made it. From a God's eye view of the loaf, your toast or eggs choice is sitting at its space-time address, like a raisin baked into the bread. That does not mean your choice is forced. The block view does not say something else decided for you. It says the choosing you do, and it is already there from the loaf's point of view. It is a difference of perspective, not of cause. You are still the chooser. It is just that your chooseness, like everything else, is etched in. It means death is less of a removal than it sounds. From the block's perspective, you are not annihilated. You are a four-dimensional shape, like a worm in the loaf, with one end at your birth and the other end at your death. The worm is there. You are not erased. You are bounded. It means every moment of joy you have ever had still exists. Permanently. Unalterably. The first time you held a child, the first time you saw the ocean, they are all there, fixed, in their places in the loaf. Nothing inside the loaf goes away. It also means every moment of pain. The block does not pick favorites. If you find this comforting, that says something about you. If you find it terrifying, that also says something about you. The block does not care. Clue 10. I want to be honest about what the detective work has not solved, because that is more interesting than what it has. We do not know whether the block view is the correct interpretation of the physics. We have the equations. We do not yet have the metaphysics that goes with them, settled and agreed. Smart people are still arguing. We do not know how to fit quantum mechanics cleanly into the block picture. Quantum mechanics, on some readings, brings genuine randomness into the universe at the microscopic level. If the universe is a block, then those random outcomes are also etched in. There is no future rolling of the cosmic die, because the result is already in the loaf. But other readings of quantum mechanics, the so-called collapse interpretations, bring the universe and time back into a more flowing picture, with possibility and actuality genuinely separate. Relativity says block. Some readings of quantum mechanics say not block. The two theories, the two greatest of our time, do not yet agree about what time is. Whichever way that argument lands, somebody has to give ground. We do not know what gives now its felt presence. We have no equation for the warmth of a present moment. We have not even agreed on whether such an equation is possible to write. So when I say tomorrow already happened, I am giving you the cleanest reading of the simplest interpretation of one of the best theories we have. I am not handing you a settled fact. I am handing you a possibility, a serious one that is consistent with everything we have measured, but not a closed case. Here is what I will say to close. The next time you find yourself worrying about the future, about something that has not happened yet, that you cannot quite shake, try, just as an experiment, to picture the loaf. Picture the worried about event sitting at its spacetime address, like a raisin in the bread. From the loaf's view, it either is or it is not, etched in there. Your slicing of the loaf, your perspective, will move forward and discover it. The loaf already knew. Does that make you feel powerless? It shouldn't. Your slicing is still your slicing. Your worm of space-time is still yours. Inside that worm, you decide, you act, you love, you fail, you try again, you change your mind, you change your life. The block does not do those things. You do. The block just records. The universe is bigger than your now. It always was. So here is what I want you to think about. If your now is just a slice, if the loaf is the real thing, then which slice are you in right now? And why this one? And what would you do, what would you change, if you really believed every moment of your life was already permanent in the block? Tell me. I would love to know.